Yo, what's good? Big Z here, and today I'm going to show you guys how to deal with the most important part of any dance track, which is the kick. And it is the most important part because if your kick is the wrong volume or you have a bad kick sample or something, it can just screw up your whole mix. So it's definitely important to spend a lot of time getting the right kick sample in there and then EQing it right and everything so it sits well in the mix. So I've got this track in front of me that I've been working on, and I'm not quite happy with how the kick is sounding, so I'm going to go through my whole process with you guys and show you guys what I usually do to get the best kick possible. So the most important part by far is sample selection, because if you pick a bad kick, there's really nothing you can do to remedy it in the mix. So you definitely want to make sure you have a great kick sample in there. And the way to do that is just test out as many different kicks as possible. So I'm going to drag like 10 different kick samples in here, and we're going to test them all out. So I'm just going to go into my personal sample folder and pick like a few of my favorite kicks and drag them in the project. So now I've dragged in all the kicks I want to try out into the project. So now I'm going to loop all of them so we can test them out underneath the track. So now that I have the kicks looped out, I'm just going to loop this drop section and kind of go through and narrow down the ones I like best and just slowly narrow it down until I'm going to be able to choose between a couple of them for the winner. So this is the hardest part when you narrow it down to a couple that you're starting to like a lot. You just got to keep listening and keep A-Bing all of them and finally just make a decision on which one you like the best. So now I have it narrowed down to my favorite two. So now I'm going to kind of shape them a little bit with some EQ, and then I can decide which one I like better. So this one to me just sounds like it has too much high end and the release might be a little too long. So I'm going to put a volume shaper and just put my kick shortening preset on there just to make it a little shorter. Now I'm going to start messing around with my EQ a little bit. And it's really good to use an EQ like FabFilter where you can see everything really well on the graphics right here. So if there's any like annoying clicks or something in the kick, you can kind of reduce them pretty easily. So as you can see, like right here, this frequency spectrum, it might not necessarily be a bad thing every time, but it's coming up a lot more than everything else in the kick. So it might be that like annoying high talk that I'm hearing. And I'm hearing a little bit too much high end too, so I'm going to reduce the highs a little bit. And you can kind of solo different sounds in the kick to see what they're doing. So I'm going to solo this part and see what it really is all about. So you can see right here there's like a little bump in the frequency chart. There's kind of an annoying frequency that I don't really want to hear. So now I'll do a before and after comparison to see what the EQ has done. So now I think this kick will sit a lot better in the mix now that I've taken the tail off with this volume shaper plugin, and now that I've EQ'd it a little bit as well. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the other kick and see where I can improve it. Just sounds like there's one annoying like high talk that I can get rid of. That right there is definitely a problem frequency. I think I'm going to reduce the area right next to that a little bit too. So I think I'm liking the second kick a little bit better. So then the last thing I would do is just make sure I got the volume right in the overall mix. So I would A-B this track with another popular track and make sure my kick was at a similar volume in my track as the kick was in that popular track. I showed you how to do that in my mixing video, so I'm not going to do it again here. But that's really my whole process for getting the right kick sound. It's really just about sample selection. Yes, you could split up like a bottom kick and a top kick and then mix those together, but there's really so many good kick samples out there already, you really don't need to do that. My favorite thing to do is just drag in a ton of different kick samples and try them all out with the track and just see which works best with the vibe of the track. And then after that, just EQ it a little bit, making sure no annoying frequencies are sticking out. And then after that, just make sure the release isn't too long, interfering with the sub bass. So that's all I do to really process my kick. It's really not much processing. It's really all about sample selection. So hopefully this was kind of helpful to you guys. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Spotify below. And other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.